few chaps at the back that wants to speak. So who would like to kick off first of all and bring a subject forward? I'd love to. I've always wanted to say this. They'll take the floor. Oh, all right. I'll start. Response has been having a great success. Even ones that they weren't responsible for, they still turned up and aided families. Unfortunately, we just heard about one today in what's the name of the place?
Bishop Stortford.
Bishop Stortford, and it went on to get out of debt free. And that was at 4:30. I asked them to give me a telephone number. Unfortunately, I didn't hear, and it's at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I think that one is past the wire, not to the wire. So.
Where's that?
Bishop
Stortford. Cambridge.
Essex.
Down the A1.
Miles away from here.
Oh yeah, unfortunately. In fact, it's next door to Grantham, when I think about it.
Is it next door to that?
No, it's about 140 miles from here. Okay. So, unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to help them, but anybody that knows anybody down that way in Essex, around the airport, Stansted is right beside it, and so is food.
Nobody else saw it? Yeah. Not calling them spoons. 2 bowls.
So if anybody's down that way, it's near Harlow as well. It's straight off the M11. Okay, now I've been speaking to quite a lot of, like Guy and Steve. Did many go to the film, The Great Mortgage Fraud? One? Was that it?
Just me.
Oh yes, I know you was with us, sitting at the same table. Okay, so not many. Okay, so what Michael Benicio was talking about, and Michael O'Dreary, I don't know what his name is, just called Michael 1 and Michael 2. That's it, yeah. They did a great deal of research, and Michael has had a fantastic result. Approximately 3 weeks, no, it's about 5 weeks ago now. Yeah, it was the 22nd of July.
Day before your eviction.
Exactly, that's how I remembered it.
Non-eviction, sorry.
Non-eviction, that's it.
And then also Steve Knight, he had one approximately 3 weeks ago, which has put there's a real fly in the ointment of the banks and the courts. Okay. So what I'll do first of all, I'll talk about what might help people stop the evictions. I was thinking this today, I should have changed the name because of cause and action. I've got eviction, fraud of the banks. It should have been fraud of the banks and the action is the eviction, so I should have changed that round. So I'll talk about the fraud of the banks, and then Paul, you're back. Paul and Adi will talk about response, which is the action that we need, and Salon's going to have a long speech as well. Paul. Okay, so what happens when you... My wife bought these glasses for me because I lost mine. Do you like the white?
It's very good.
Yeah.
Fame to change you.
Yeah.
We're just missing the hat.
Taking years off it. Okay. Basically, when you take out a mortgage, so I'll talk about Sue and Tom. We went and we took out a mortgage, and the reason why I'm talking about this is the reason why they came to steal our home. Okay. They changed all the conditions several times, and we thought mistakes. They're just cocking up the paperwork. They just don't know what they're doing, and then they went after us. The reason why they went after us is this here, and this is what Michael Benicio Benicio. Oh, she'd have a blinking name. And this is why they can steal your home or anybody's home. Okay, so the first thing we did, we went in, we found a house down the road, and we went to Bradford and Bingley and said, we don't have a lot of money, will you give us some money? Which we all know now they do not give money, they facilitate credit. Okay, but I'll come to that. So what they do, they send you a letter and the letter will be an offer. Okay. But once again, they don't sign this. They simply send you a letter saying, we'll give you 40,000. We'll give you 40,000 and they don't sign that letter. You go and find a solicitor and you employ the solicitor to do the conveyancing, and they do the land registry checks. Then from there, but the solicitor never explains the terms and conditions that the bank is going to give you after you've signed the documents. Okay, this is the whole fraud. There's three elements of fraud when they try and steal your home. Right. The solicitor and the bank insist that you sign the mortgage deed. It's mandatory before they'll proceed. Then they will insist that you do not date the document, the deed. Okay. So now you signed it. They may not even ask you to use a witness for your signature. That's another thing. We had a witness, but and the other thing that the solicitor should explain is about consideration. What we're about to give them, which is all our sweat and blood over the years, and pay for this alleged loan, which isn't there. Then I've talked about that. Right, we start right at the start, and Michael
Michael from the north.
Michael from Newcastle. Okay. He's a brilliant orator. He can speak very well, and he's got the Latin and such like. So this is basically down to the basic level, so the average man in the street and woman can understand. Okay, so from the beginning, this is in the legal terms. It's null and ab initio, which is from the beginning. In legal terms, it means null and void. This is what happens when they don't allow you to date the deed right at the beginning. Now, he's had such a success, as I say, about 5 weeks ago, that the courts now have made an order that the banks have to comply. They have to go back to the beginning, to where they didn't date it. So right from the start, there's fraud. So everything that's done in your name is now null and void. So the other thing that I've spoken about, they don't create money. They create money, but only because you've given them power of attorney with the signature. You haven't dated it. The only thing you've done is signed it. And the witness, whether it's your friend or whoever, may have witnessed it, but it doesn't matter, because right from that, there's a time gap between what they do with the signature when they pass it on to the solicitors who date it. Now the implications of this is absolutely devastating to the banks, what Michael's done, because it's not only involving the fraud of the mortgages, it's also taking into scrutiny the creation of money and the fraud of the banks actually charging interest on money that they didn't give you. So they're charging vast sums over 25 years. In our case, we paid up to three times what we were allegedly borrowing. All that money is now owing to everyone else in this room. And I was going to go into consideration, but that's a bit too heavy. So we come down to this particular document. Everybody talks about to get out the power of attorney, and it's a notice of revocation of the power of attorney, and then you can use a deed of the revocation. Now these are very well, you can use them, and they do hinder them, but it's not necessary, because of what Michael's done. He's actually used the, I'll come to the actual part that's created all the damage. Okay, so basically summing what I'm trying to get out up in a few sentences is the deed will not have been dated on the actual day of the signature by the mortgagor, hence the registration gap in between, and even the witness's signature, as I said, may be done by strangers. So under the new precedent set by Michael, the mortgage or deed is now void under section 1 paragraph 3 of the Law of Properties Miscellaneous Act 1989. I've got the actual summary of what that actually means. It means that anyone who has signed this document or a deed doesn't have it dated when you did it, and the bank, I didn't even go into the bank signing this, because that's another thing, but this alone makes whatever the bank has done. Okay, so at this point of execution, the deed relied on was not a completed document, insofar as it was not dated, and as such it was incapable of being a delivered deed. So when they gave that document to the land registry, they're creating fraud. And what it actually means, now this is the real crux of the matter. There's no deed, so this here, the revocation of power of attorney, doesn't count, because when there's no deed, there's no power of attorney. That's gone. Don't even have to apply for that. So there's no legal charge on the property, and of course there can be no evictions. So if we all, I've got the documentation, in fact I'll put that, get out of debt free.
Do you have the case law reference?
Sorry?
Do you have the case law reference? Because if you
Yeah, I do actually. I'll put that up as well.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Has that changed any law about how the bank goes about making the mortgage, or do they just carry on doing the same thing?
They carry on doing the same thing.
Remedy, that's all.
Well, we're all too stupid to figure this out.
Yeah.
Now we've got them in 3 different sections of fraud. This is only really one. The creation of money. Now this is the big thing. Everybody's heard about the PPI clawback. Well, this is going to be absolutely devastating for the banks, because, right, I'll just, what happens with this is all the money that they've created in fraud, they're in a serious position, because when they securitize your documents, they're null and void as well. So all those investors have just lost all their money.
Plus they're going to have to pay you back every single payment you make on the mortgage.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Plus interest, plus stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but the thing is, that's just us little people, okay?
Yeah.
You've got the banks and the financial institutions who's going to go, whoa, all our investments have just been wiped out because of good old Michael. And that means an end of evictions. So the government may well try and push through legislation to stop this.
Oh, there'll be fancy footwork to make this.
Well, this here could actually bring down the banks, and they've got nobody can bail them out because the government can't bail them out in this.
Tom, yeah. When we look at what we did, the fight against workfare, there was a case in the court that said that workfare was illegal. And what the government went and did was retrospectively legislated. I mean, they didn't say what the law is from tomorrow onwards. They said this is the law from 3 years ago onwards.
That's all right, but it's already been done. That fraud's already been committed, so after this point.
Yeah, you see,
we say up to this point.
Yeah, but they don't say this is the law on.
I don't care what they
1st of
say.
September. They said this
been
is
committed.
They just said it wasn't fraud.
no,
That's how the buggers work. We've got to think.
The thing we are not talking even of one fraud, because the whole system is systematically fraudulent, because you are talking about the land registries in the fraud as well. The banks are in it, the government is in it, the solicitors are in it, because if the solicitors are aware they are helping people to sign, committing fraud, they are all in it. Otherwise, it's the university which they are teaching the people to do the thing. That's the system to follow, and they have to, without question, follow the system. So we're talking about something big here. Really big.
That's exactly right. They've been training the law profession to follow all these rules, telling the solicitors, tell your clients, they have to date it afterwards. But there's another little thing that I didn't mention, is that your conveyancing solicitor also works for the bank, and he gets a kickback as well from that. So
signing together. Contracts should be signed together.
Yeah.
All parties together, signed and dated together.
But what
No
Ned's,
fraud, so everything up to this point, it don't matter.
what Ned said about changing the law, that's all right, okay, for statutes and that. We are now talking about criminal law, common law, and that isn't easy for them to go into Parliament and change that.
You can't change common law, can you? It's existed since
Exactly,
time.
so they're stuffed. Hopefully.
One final thing, just
You're not going to like this, Tom.
fraud. There is
You're not going to like it, are
You'll like it up, do they?
Oh, jeez.
So, hopefully,
What's the way to enforce it?
Well,
we need to have a game plan.
yes, I feel like, is it Podrick out of
Blackadder.
Blackadder? I have a cunning plan. No, not me, but a lot of very, very clever people have got a plan how to instigate this into Parliament. So they're going to be called ban to rights.
I was down the land registry on Friday, obviously getting my deed. And what I found out was that they actually put the deed in. They put two sets. Yeah, they put two deeds in. One is the actual deed itself, and the other one is a certified copy. The deed goes back to the solicitor, and the land registry keep the certified copy. So where is the deed?
The deed is it's gone back to your bank.
It is the solicitor's.
We need to round solicitors up.
No,
When you say now.
well, that's another story,
Yeah.
because now we also go after the solicitors, go after their insurance policies, because they sat down and they did a deal with the banks. Now the banks and the solicitors are complicit in fraud against the clients.
They misrepresented it to you as well.
Yeah. So this is just scratching the surface. It's
They've invested in, these are same insurance companies that have been invested on the market in this stuff anyway, because the banks have collapsed and...
I think we need to look at all the options, but finally we have to look at, you were talking about Parliament. The Parliament is the biggest problem. So we need to look at something in regards of common law, something that the people can do to try to start with the real common laws in UK, because obviously the pattern, the system is the problem. So if we go to the system and try to replay the game, they're going to, as the gentleman said, they're going to try to put new laws or try to clamp down on some so we need to have a solid, proper game plan.
We see Parliament, if you actually look at it, over 2/3 of those sitting there are either judges, solicitors, barristers, bankers. It's those people that...
And they also change hats as well.
No, I'm
A
not.
barrister can be a judge.
Yeah.
Solicitor,
That's right.
judges.
Sorry, Andy.
It's all right. No problem. Oh,
Gents, is just
one other point to add on this massive fraud, because
It's
it
huge.
is a massive fraud. It's affecting anybody who's ever thought, I'm going to own property by taking out a mortgage and spending my
It's
sweat
also
equity over a
bank
number of
loans as
years
well.
to pay it off. The final stage, if you're lucky enough to have spent that money and all that time earning that money to pay off that mortgage, they are supposed to return your deed when the debt is done. Debt can only ever be paid once, that's common sense. So once it's paid off, why aren't they returning your deed property?
There's actually a legal term. When they're caught in fraud, you write to the court and you tell them that it should be put back to the point where it never happened. Okay, so you go back to that point and they owe you everything. Whether they'll still be there to pay you, that's another question. But
Tom, the gentleman over there was just talking about what we should do about Parliament. I was watching a Parliament, something in Parliament the other day, and there was one crooked MP, but they're all crooks, aren't they? He stood up and he says, the public are the bosses. We work for the public. I looked up the word public. What did it say? Private company.
yeah.
Registered company. We're all privately registered, aren't we?
See what they've done now with the police and the judges and the judiciary. They've changed the oath. They've taken out the oath to the Queen. Right. The Queen, although we all know about the Queen is the buffer between the people and a tyrant government. It's her job to make sure that they don't pass laws. And of course, she's treasonous.
Is she drugged up? Is she stupid?
Well, you can take it out to anybody you like, but they haven't even got any. When she broke her oath, which was a contract to people, hers, when she broke her oath by signing a piece of legislation, she was no longer our queen. People have come to the realisation now that the international
Coronation never actually took place as well.
You sign a contract, you sign at the bottom, don't you? Any contract, anything you sign, you have to sign at the bottom. If we didn't sign the bottom of her oath, she signed at the top and drew a thick line underneath it.
So it's just a signature, nothing applied underneath it.
Yeah.
Separated from the main document.
Better to be hung for that one fraud than one for the multiple.
Well, the other thing they did, Blair and Brown, they changed, when they were in office, the Treasonous Act. So they knew what was coming down the line. But the only thing they can't change is, once again, common law, which, if you go against your people, it's a treasonous offence by hanging.
But surely though, if you can take it away, then you can put it back as well.
Well, they couldn't do it retrospectively anyway. They'd all committed treason prior to that point anyway, so they're all guilty and need hanging.
So, Salon, you're going to be the judge.
I can't argue with that.
Okay, so that's my little bit regarding what happened. Why they did what they did to Sue and I. They used the power of attorney. Okay, they are able to do anything in your name. They can, as they did with Guy. They took out a £900,000 loan, and when Guy said, "I didn't sign this," yes, he did, because the bank is Guy when he's signing the paper because of the power of attorney. So this document that Michael put into court has taken the rug from under them. So.
Yeah, because when the bailiff comes up to your door, he is really your power of attorney that's walking up. That's what you signed to.
Yeah, they can do anything to you.
But surely, if they've got your power of attorney, don't they have the utmost as caregivers to do good for that power of attorney? And it's actually an offence to not do it. It's like in business when...
That's right. Yeah.
You know, your duty is to make as much money as possible for the person.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes.
Well, I'll tell you how much the power of attorney can affect you. Okay. When I went through my operations, they went wrong. And when I brought it up, I said, just cover me. I wasn't trying to take money out of the National Health. I said, just pay me for the wages that I've lost. You nearly killed me twice. Just pay that. And their solicitors wrote back to me and said, prove to us that we've got a duty of care. And that's from the National Health. And that's because I signed that document, power of attorney to them. So they can do anything to anyone.
But they're doing it in the criminal, like say if you're in a police station, you need a solicitor, you need legal aid, straight away he'll come down and he'll flick his forms over, he'll have a little cross all prepared, just sign there, just sign there, just sign there.
Yeah, yeah.
You're giving them full power of attorney. The solicitor's got full power of attorney. Just to, if you don't sign the legal aid, you can't get no, you know, you can't get no service.
The most powerful thing you've got
every time
is your signature.
And this is why you get sent to prison as well, because you have a solicitor acting for you, and you've already signed giving him power of attorney, and he signs a document saying that you will do whatever the judge says, whether that's send you to prison, fine you, community service, whatever. You've already given him permission to do that, so you should never have a solicitor represent you.
After the case, the judge goes into the back room with a solicitor and he'll sign the form called the case management form, and that's what the solicitor signs on your behalf, because you give him power of attorney from the legal aid form. It's all consensual.
All you are is a milk cow, money cow, I should say. That's it. They just want as
unless
much
you keep
out
your signature off the paper, and then it's all unlawful on their behalf. Then they're acting unlawful.
They're talking about an ageing population. Now people have to work longer because what's going to happen? They're not going to earn enough money out of you lot. You've got to work another 3 or 4 years. This is what they're doing. They're milking us all dry, and it's all going to the top 1%, as we all know. So
they spent 33 billion on education, health, military. You know.
Yeah, well, that's all investments for them.
Yeah.
Because they'll get money.
Well, they
like military. I mean,
care pathway, they can just label whoever they want who stands up to the system. The education's to brainwash the young kids.
What they're teaching kids in school.
To brainwash them, yeah. And then the police and military to enforce everything.
You're just creating drones for the production line, isn't it?
I want to go to the game plan, so how do we...
We're all talking about, basically, I mean, not that, nobody's that far behind just on it, I think.
Well, you aren't.
We're challenging a mortgage. This guy's up to 12 months and it's just put off a court date. I'm 3-4 months into challenging mine, quite a few others. And we've got together in our area. I put it up on the Facebook page. We've been down to the Citizens Advice Bureau and informed the mortgage advisor there and educated him on the power of attorney. We've educated the same mortgage mediator we've had because he works our area. He knows about power of attorney. I mean, he was shocked. He's been doing this for 18 years, mediating mortgages, and he knows about power of attorney now. And he said to me when I first started talking to him when he came through the door, he says, I only saw about 24 months left for the job I'm in because people are steering and stuff going on, but I don't understand it. And then when I explained it to him, he says, well, my job's going to be over in about 6 months then, isn't it? So they're aware, do you know what I mean? They're aware of that side, but I think what we need to do together now is get down your Citizens Advice Bureaus, get to your mortgage mediators, let your solicitors know, and report your mortgage as a fraud. Has anybody reported the mortgage as a fraud? Have you been down to the police station and said, there's a fraud going on here? What if we all do that en masse?
Yeah, we should do.
If you're going to do that, I suggest you do it by pen and not by typewriter.
Do it online. You can do it online. You can
You're taking on the persona of the person. You've got to write by hand to make sure that you're a living man. That's why.
Do you have a copy of that in Talk What is going on about that?
I do somewhere, but it's on the computer.
one was due up in court, guys. One was due up in court about 2-3 weeks ago, and the week before he was due up in court, a closed court by the way, we found out the week before, another friend.
So who's appointed you to stop me? You're not even, are you a civil servant? He says, I work for civil servant. I says, are you a civil servant? He says, no. I says, why are you stopping me from walking in this building? Get me a civil servant down here who's in charge, because they've got no rights to appoint you to stop me from coming in here. And this is what really needs to be going on, you know.
That's perfect.
Who's appointing these
the police station, if I don't see it, we want to have the police there to create.
Yeah, they call the police, but there's 120,000 in the country, running the country, about 7,000 of them are magistrates. The rest, against 65 million people at least. And they're all kind of they're all on big money, and they're just destroying and keeping the whole system together. Solicitors, lawyers, all of them in contract together, that they're not going to do any of them.
The court house itself is a public building.
It's a public building, yeah.
And the judiciary are hiring it, and we're paying for it.
That's right, yeah.
And they've got the words round the wrong way.
Yeah, they're not hiring the old building, they're just hiring certain rooms within
So
the
when
building.
I went in, I said, I'm the public, you're the servant, and don't get the roles mixed up. And the face dropped, and off she went and did what she was told.
Yeah. Another thing is, Tom, sorry. Another thing is, I've been in court with to help a friend out one day, and it's to do with council tax, a liability order it was. And this friend put in all the paperwork, everything, all the laws, and the magistrate said, this doesn't apply.
No merit.
He just says, they read out all the laws, the Social Security Act, there were loads of them. And the magistrate says it doesn't apply to this case. Has everyone got to pay council tax? Yes, your worship, says the woman from the council. He says, okay, I'll grant the liability order. Oh, like this.
So make the
You've
rules
got
up
to be
as they go
joking.
along, don't
Who are you? Who are these
Working
people?
for the council.
But as we know, they're all in it together.
Separation of powers.
When he reported it as a fraud, he also reported that they were all working in collusion within this fraud. So he wanted all of them studied, and he's put in it as well that if they don't come back to him with a decent answer, then they'll be part of that collusion also, and the whole thing's collusion. So where'd you go?
What we're going to do?
I had a bit of a slack there at work. I was looking up something called the separation of powers. If you don't live in a tyranny, the powers, the judiciary, the courts, the executive, which are your army and your police, and your legislature who make the laws, should all be separate branches. They shouldn't be together. Because if they're all together, it concentrates too much power on too few people, and you get tyranny. Well, in this country, not only do we have those three powers absolutely fused together, we can add the corporations to that, and they're all, you know...
Well, the corporations run the other three.
Yeah, and that's what we're up against. You know, we don't have the separation of powers, we have a tyranny, because the powers are all fused together. I know some people believe it might be Masonic, or I believe it's corporate control.
It is.
Corporate fascism.
This is something, can we plan from here on to say, with the next couple of weeks, each one in the areas get the little group of people, a network of people, and try to go to court with, of course, cameras and stuff like to try to, in different areas, within a couple of weeks distance, take, you know, go and really bother the judges and the court, so they all know, they all realize, look, they are all waking up, you know, they came to all the courts. Yeah. So, you know, it's not just, I want to go and arrest the judge, I want, you know, I like to be out there. But we need to do it in different areas so we can show them. And they realize, look, this is happening, you know, we have been raided.
We're not going to put up with it anymore if you carry on like this.
We need to take action, we need to take action, so we need to try to, people from different areas gather and go for it. If you have to travel to other areas, I'll travel to other areas to go to do it.
Just anticipate what they're going to do. They're going to watch this on YouTube, identify leaders in inverted commas, and find spurious grounds to nick them, because in my opinion,
okay, so we don't put in YouTube. We don't put in YouTube
leaders.
No, I don't find
it's a scapegoat.
But we don't have any leaders.
You divide everyone up, so it's like divide and conquer. We don't know who you are, you just appeared. Who are you?
We'll have a drink later on.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's no leaders. We're all, as I said at the beginning, all sorts of
But what I'm saying is,
So shall we?
I said right Taylor. Right, they'd like to decapitate our move by arresting Guy Taylor.
Okay, shall we move on from the mortgage fraud to the actual results from the fraud, which is I'm sure Paul would like to say about response. And this is the sharp end of it. This is the hard end to stop these criminals taking families' homes. And he's been bloody successful so far.
On the response, I think we've stopped, out of all the groups around the country, we've stopped 12 evictions so far. I think Aidan in the talk was coming, that's why it's going to happen. Yeah. It was just an idea. I know in the last couple of weeks there's been some concerns about the direction that the group was taking, and I sort of stepped away a little bit. And I think it's right that if people want to attend every eviction, they should do, because that's what their focus will be. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we should protect that little core where you've got the inspectors and all the legal.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of evictions where, you know, people who have faced eviction in social housing situations haven't been totally honest with us, and that's, you know, left us a bit wide open, as you know. So, you know, we're happy to help people with, you know, social housing issues, but that it gets a little bit more complicated there if they don't tell us the truth.
Can I just ask, like, what kind of truths are they not telling? I just want to get a wider view on what.
There was some AD dealt with a lot of them. I was on holiday last week. Did not think just little things like putting in benefit forms and stuff when they could have done, but they just didn't want to do it.
Oh yeah, I can understand that, but we've just got to remember, we can't lose sight of our humanity in this. We can't be forgetting about other people, only sticking to other people. Like, we don't want a two-tier helping system.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We need to give everyone equal level of care. Like, I do agree if they're not giving you the full information, I don't understand that. But like, even if it means going down to a social housing eviction and we stop that eviction and they have to go back to court and they've got a couple of more weeks.
That's everything we're happy to do.
You know what I mean? Them small amounts of hope can mean a lot to people, and I think that kind of energy we need to be pushing forward as much as possible.
That's everything we're about. We're happy to stand together. The response isn't me and AD, it's everybody in this room.
I think perhaps we should, if anyone's going to help anybody else, that the people who are being assisted should be really, really, really encouraged to tell the truth. Because come up with a lie, not a lie, but something that's, it was like this, but it was actually like that, but they felt a bit embarrassed. They can't be honest with each other. This is how they get us, through their lies and smoke and mirrors and deceit. So we don't have to tell them everything we're doing, but we have to know what's going on so that we can help or assist in the correct
learned behaviour though, hasn't it? Because if I just tell, keep that back from the council, I'll get some money from them. And it becomes then learned behaviour that, well, I'm not going to tell you the whole truth because you might not want to help me. If you're keeping stuff back so that you can get, these people really, I'm not judging anybody, all I'm saying is that you shouldn't have to do that to get the help in the first place. But people learn this behaviour, that this is the only way I'm going to be able to get some help from somebody who's there, a public servant that's there, whose job is to help me, not to put barriers in the way of the help that I need. So if I tell a few white lies or just hide something back, it's like your CV, I've never been to the moon, but I say it on my CV. It's those little white lies that trap you, and then it becomes learnt behaviour when somebody genuinely comes forward and says, look, I can help you if you're honest with me, and they're not.
So that's the negatives. What's the positives there? Well, going forward.
You do positive.
Right, well, what about, you spoke to the locksmith, what about targeting the locksmiths'
Well, that's what we did yesterday.
businesses?
I'm banned.
I'm banned as well.
What a result.
Yeah, I know, I've seen
At
it.
the eviction yesterday with the lady.
If I hadn't had your help yesterday, I told Paul tonight I've had the best night's sleep.
Just for those that don't know, can you tell what actually happened?
I'll let Paul tell you. It's still coming down from 6 years.
The best person to sort of tell everyone would be Claire.
What's that?
About the situation.
Oh, Claire, well done, yeah, you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you everybody, thank you Paul, Amy, everyone who, thank you, everybody who turned in today, you, Dave, amazing, I was stuck at work, I was laughing, because I was sat in the office drinking coffee, making them tips all the front door. We all had coffee too.
Well, for that, you were saying about targeting the locksmith, there is a third element in these evictions. There's the bailiff, and he doesn't possession of the keys. There's usually either a solicitor or a private investigator there. He looks like the bailiff's helper.
I think he was a she.
He's the one that stands there, and when you say, oh, I'm with the bailiff, they don't actually identify themselves. They're the ones that actually take possession of the keys on behalf of whoever the mortgage supplier is. That's also the one that you need to identify and not say attack, but shame would be a better
Yeah, definitely. The bailiff, sorry, the locksmith that was there today, he was quite the guy personally was a likeable lad. He said he was just there doing his job, working. I asked him if it was his company. He rang his boss and said he didn't want to be involved and he wanted to leave.
Sorry Paul, he put his thumbs up to everybody on the lawn.
He didn't want to be there.
I got that thumbs up from them all driving down the street.
Think Ross wants to have a...
Yeah. But just coming back to this case, what they did, she was in court at 9 o'clock in the morning. They hung it out, the eviction was 12 o'clock, they hung it out till 12 o'clock, that's when they seen her. So if she'd have been in court, if she was in court, there'd been nobody else there, they would have got the house while she was in court. That's how corrupt the system is.
I rang for an emergency hearing. The woman who's got Rainbow Farm.
Yeah,
the same thing that's
well,
happening there.
that's something that we all, that is going to be a test case, and we need all the bodies that we can to help that lady just now. Because we've got to stop it.
Anybody who's not familiar with that story, this comes down to massive corruption from the council. They allowed planning permission for a wind farm, completely breaking their own regulations that states wind turbines, over a certain height are not allowed within a certain distance of property that is occupied. Her farm was in this, I think it's 800 metres circumference of where they're going to stick a nice great big turbine on top of the hill. And they gave planning permission for it.
On her property, and they got planning permission
and they
before
gave planning permission for something that, under their own rules, they were not allowed to do. So once they got planning permission, and let's be honest, the wind farm industry is money. She's just one woman. What do? Let's get rid of her. Her debts that she owed by the government, by the court's own document was £0 and 0 pence. It says there in black and white. But once they added on the court fees, it did come to £120.
It's 900,000.
Now they've taken her farm off. They literally created a siege situation where she was barricaded in whilst bailiff security people ripped the place apart. Then they evicted her, leaving the animals. It's an animal sanctuary that were being looked after, alone and traumatised for, I think it was, how long was it? So long?
3 days.
3 days.
Where was that?
Before the RSPCA then were called in, and then tried to do this woman for neglect of the animals that she couldn't get to see to because she'd been evicted. All because a wind farm was decided it's going to be put right there on that land when it shouldn't have even passed planning permission. Everybody who was involved in that, except for the woman herself, who did no wrong except for want to look after animals that had been abandoned, did wrong and committed fraud. And this is being exposed now. Now it gets even worse. As Tom will tell you, they're trying to take her to court, just like this lady here, on the very day they're going to sell her house that they've taken away from her. And the court case on the same day is about the fraud that's gone on and to stop the sale by auction, same as happened to Guy, and it's the same auction company as well.
Yeah.
So look it up, and if any of you are on social medias that we're not all on, just get the word out there. People need to be at these courts, they need to be at... This woman needs some sort of...
I think the problem we are finding here is the biggest help we had so far is Tom's, which we had around about 300 people, and we need numbers for this one because we were talking about a lot of security people in the perimeter and police as well, and it's a big area as far as I believe. So we need to have a lot of numbers, and Tom's video was what brought all the people together. So the problem with this is they are scanning all the social media. So if we put the video there, they are going to have numbers as well, and it's going to become really messy. So this is the problem I'm personally finding like the logistic to get the people there is going to be a big dilemma because how are we going to go to contact each other? The social media what is working for us, but it's going to be, we know it's going to be scrutinized and scanned. This. So I don't know if anyone got a solution.
Response, get out of debt free, and every other one that's trying to stop all this fraud in action, and this lady herself will, and Tom will stand testimony to this, is that it's, as you say, it's bodies. It's the amount of...
how do you get the bodies without them knowing
it? If there's 2 or 3 of there, they'll walk over. If
there's
there's 200 of you there, they'll run away.
What goes on in Nottingham, yeah, is down to the chief constable, the sheriff.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing.
That's whatever county it in, yeah, and no one's targeting them. He's allowing all this oppression and all this stuff. The sheriff and the constables at Nottingham and the magistrates, they're all in it together. Do you know what I mean? If something gets, you know, it's them what needs to be targeted.
But going back to your point with them knowing what's going to happen,
which is the
how many bodies can they actually get? And how can they actually come out and say, oh, there's a load of people coming up to support someone? You know, they can't do it. They have to be called. So I honestly wouldn't take the fear from that. I would just go along and do it.
I agree.
I wouldn't fear, well, you know.
I know you would be.
It would be a lot more, you know, a lot more convenient for everybody to stop a hassle. If they got 50 security guards and 50 police officers because it's foreseen on the social media that we are coming.
Yeah. They got no power.
Well, this nature. Even if we go 200, it's going to get messy. You know, I am up for a battle, unfortunately. You know, I'm up for a battle, but you know, a lot of people are not, and we want women and children going to this. And the response, the idea is no battle. The idea is do it with intelligence and numbers and love and light.
Yeah, I'm sure some brains will be working on the logistics.
The NATO thing going off in Cardiff at the moment, they drafted police from all over the country. They've got over 10,000 police down in Cardiff, plus ships, US ships, and helicopters and planes securing the whole area, so they can get them, but this has been organised for over a couple of years, this whole event. So it's only when they organise it. If we just turn up en masse somewhere, they can't touch us. They can't get anywhere near us.
Yesterday proved it.
We proved it time and time again.
I think 50 pounds yesterday, just for
The simple fact that there were numbers on the ground yesterday made all the difference.
You don't need huge amounts either.
If there was anybody who ever feels unsure about doing this, just think to yourself, why should you ever be afraid to just step forward and help your fellow man?
That's exactly it.
We're all now.
Fear is their best friend.
Tom, didn't we talk about the Liberty Bell last time?
Yeah.
Somebody set it up. Yeah. Chap with beard. John, really?
That's right. Well, you can talk. You can talk to Paul. I'm sure he'll sort that out.
Yeah. The gentleman across there talking about how we're going to contact each other. You know. Yeah. The last time we had a meeting, we were thinking about a Liberty Bells. Basically, it's a phone that's unregistered. The SIM card's unregistered, and it's got a list of phone numbers in where there's no need for any names. But you send such and such a person is going to be evicted tomorrow morning. Yeah, and then we all turn up.
And there will be a few undercover that's got that number.
Another question, going back to the locksmiths, because Salon and I were talking about this the other day, right? And it's quite important. Who pays the locksmiths? Andy, do you know who pays the locksmiths? When they turn up for for
We have the two buildings.
The bailiffs usually goes through.
Is it the bailiffs that pay the locksmiths? The bank?
You do.
The bank paid
You look deep, I think you'll find you pay.
So yeah, it's 45 quid. I saw your post. So it's the bailiffs that pay the locksmiths. The solicitors pay the locksmiths.
Yesterday they were paid by the solicitors.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, up till that.
The
actual fee.
Come on, let's keep it sensible. One at a time.
How much what percentage do the bailiffs get out of properties?
2.5%, I believe, it's 2.5%.
2.5. So you got 100,000. You know what? They're getting 2.5 grand to turn up.
So they've got a good incentive.
Just addressing something that the big fellow was, sorry, I don't know your name. So what I'm saying, remember we live in an age of austerity, right? Our time costs a lot less than their time does. 300 turn up, they've got a 300 police turn up. How many times can they keep turning 300 police out before the budget?
Especially when you
They shouldn't be 300, they should have, by the safety assessment, they should have 3 times as many.
Yeah.
So you should have,
When they're overtime, every week, every eviction, they say we can't afford to do this. We can't afford all this overtime. Our time's virtually free.
Sorry, Ross.
It's just on the locksmith. Someone may have seen my comments on Facebook. My name's Ross Farrell, and I felt that some of the messages going to the locksmith on Facebook seemed okay. They were saying you should learn what's going on. It was a little bit aggressive, but certainly not a threat. And I felt there was nothing really balanced going on. So I took it upon myself, and I might offend some people in here who were quite aggressive towards him, and I rang him. And he seemed like a nice guy, and he talked me through his history of what he's done in the past. And he said, and he could be lying to me, that he doesn't go out to do these evictions. He had no idea what he's getting involved with, and as soon as he had an opportunity to turn the guy away, or when he was told to turn away, he did. He's no intention of doing it anymore again. I invited him to come here tonight, and he said that he felt scared to come here, and he cancelled all his jobs today because he had an apprentice that was going to look after the shop. And I feel that we lost, I genuinely feel, I could be wrong, I could be a mug, but I feel we lost an advocate. We gained an enemy. We don't need any enemies. And I know there are some locksmiths who probably specialise in this, who love it, who love getting into a scrap.
Well, there's one in Wales.
I've seen him, and he's a twat, and you can recognise him, but I think people are, my view, people are too quick to jump on this guy. And I don't know him, so I'm not defending him personally.
The guy he sent yesterday was, he didn't want to be there. He didn't want anything to do with it.
This guy's scared, and he told me that his wife was just recovering from cancer. And that for me is just like a link into somebody. You can start waking them up. When they say cancer, you've got to be brave, but you can get in there and say, have a look at this.
Well, this is why we've got to educate them all.
I think we need to be kind. And
we want to be made welcome.
I just made one more point. I said to him, I've kind of been into this for 6 months, and I said I've been to 3 evictions, and every single person I met, he's had physical threats. Every single person I've met has been kind. We've all got one goal, and that's to look after our kids and make sure they've got a better future. What he saw was some vicious people ringing him up, doing prank calls and calling him out, and I don't think he deserved it. And that's just my view.
But the truth is, anybody else that sat here,
I said I would come in with him. I would buy the truck and stand by him.
It's easy to abuse people when it's just words on a screen or a voice on a phone. When you meet somebody face to face, pretty much most people are nice.
He's not a judge. He's not G4S. He's not David Cameron. He's just a guy who runs a business. And I don't think he does those things. And it's a shame he was scared.
It's about educating people, irrespective of what side of the fence they're on. You know, you're going to get people, even, you know, like the police or whoever they are, we need to educate them to the light side as it was, you know, to understand what's happening. Because a lot of them don't understand, you know, they're not fully aware of everything that's going on. So,
can I just ask, did you see any threatening comments? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't. I said that to him. I said, I've not seen anything online. What is it you're saying? And he said, I've had 3 threatening phone calls where they threatened to come down to my shop
and physically harm. I said, I don't know if that's true. I said, the people I've met, it doesn't sound like them.
Not heard of nothing like that.
You've got,
I understand that there will be the fake ones that painters as the bad guys, so they'll send
I accept all these things, so I have a proposal. My proposal is to give people a chance. And when we see their van, we've got their logo, I don't mind jumping in the car and driving down to the locksmith's shop. I don't mind ringing him up and saying, hey, you've got a guy down here, do you know what's going on? And if he says, fuck you, I'm there to do this, you go, alright, he's an enemy, everyone go for him. And then we go raid his shop and we tell all his customers things to do. And then if he says no, we go, do you know what's going on? Come down, or I'll go for a beer with you, or whatever. Your wife's got cancer, wow, that's terrible. I know someone that can help you with that.
But if there wasn't that many people there yesterday with the presents,
I know,
they'd have been quite happy to spend that 45 quid and let Rachel and her mum be
but they don't know.
out on the street.
They don't know. I've taken contracts in the past for calls. I now know are terrible.
Because he was at the last
Everyone's got to wake up.
He left yesterday because it was cancelled, not because he found
Yes, we were all asleep once, is my view. We were all asleep once, and we did things then, I have, that I wouldn't do now, because I know the harm it does.
I know he says he hasn't, he's going to stop and he's not done it now. How many years has he taken money from
He said
doing
he'd done one, he said this was his second job in about 2 years. And the last one he did, he said, he could be lying, the last one he said he went to a house and it was vacant, he said the people clearly just left.
Well, mine would have been vacant if it had to be easy. He'd have carried it out.
He wouldn't.
So, that's only one job. So he specialises in student, I've got drunk and I've lost my keys and it's 3 o'clock in the morning getting me back in my house. So he says. And I think if we'd have rang him, if I'd have rang him, like I will do next time, if no one wants to beat me up for doing it, he might be here tonight. And I think if he hears what's going on, if he's got kids, if he wants a future for himself, if he wants to see a better country like we all do,
yeah, exactly.
I think he'd drop it. He's not the chief executive of G4S, he's a little guy who runs a shop in Nottingham.
But that's precisely what the comments were trying to do.
Unfortunately, yeah, they weren't soft, and he's got business and he's worried and he doesn't have all the info, and I don't think we can wake someone up by slapping them.
But do you not think as a company he has a duty to find out what he's doing?
I run a company, and you might say, you've got a duty to do X, Y, Z.
But the locksmith came yesterday, he didn't speak to anybody, he knew, he absolutely knew what he was doing yesterday.
He did.
He didn't get out of the car and speak to any of the bailiffs, any of the bank ladies, he knew exactly what he was there for.
Every police officer knows exactly what they're there for, but I think there's a way we can wake every police officer up.
I'm not disagreeing, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
But what I was going to say, was speaking to Sue, that when I said target the locksmith, I didn't mean go knocking on the doors and such.
Of course not.
Give them the information, put it in front of them that they're not going to be able to do this any longer because there are going to be consequences.
Yeah.
Okay. The consequences of them doing what they're doing is putting a family on the street. They've got also have consequences that they will be identified and shamed. And the rest of their families will know what they're actually doing. They're not just getting some young drunken student into his flat or her flat. It's something serious and they shouldn't be allowed to do it. And the same with the police. We should be informing the police what they're actually doing, because AD's actually got, I don't know if he's brought it, the actual book that they're supposed to follow. They're not following that. So we have to, because they don't even buy them.
Full order. Full order, not the law.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that happened in...
And the order come from the Mason...
The PCs haven't got a clue anyway.
No, exactly. So we've got to educate. When we were at Guys, we're looking... Well, Salon, you were educating quite a few of them. I
had a word with them.
Yeah. And you can see some of them.
The young lad, he definitely was paying attention.
Yeah, but there's one standing like this.
The fat one. I mean, the challenged weight-wise one.
Political correctness there.
Do you know, Tom, a lot of people, you think we're awake, but a lot of people don't even realise what they are. I'm not going to go into it now, I'm going to make a film about this, a little film. But there's one man in here that nailed it on the head, and the gentleman over there, he said, I'm one. For are we not all one, Andy? All of us. If we realise that we're all one, and our negative other selves, who have been in this massive club of take, we've been saying this for years, if they do wake up, they'll be on our side. Because they'll realise that if they're causing you harm, or anybody else any harm, they're actually doing it to themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I just said to Sloan that this part is quite, it's almost like what she doesn't have a clue, and she's got no money, they've robbed her of everything. They even got in the house and smashed all her personal belongings. Apart from putting their animals down, you know, they're being...
But is it not illegal though to take someone's property? Then I suppose that the locksmith... Smash her property up though, isn't it?
Yeah, well...
It's not her property when it's in their property.
Well, Paul, I've got the actual...
yours when it's in there.
I've got the CPR rules that actually state that when the bailiffs go in, they're supposed to do an inventory of everything in there.
That's what I would have thought.
Well, there's one thing, we'll smash that one, and there's another thing, and that's what they're doing. It's just total wickedness.
I've seen the video of them anyway, so I should imagine now these people will actually be brought to book.
Yeah, well, she should be prosecuted.
There's something about the Iron Woman as well in the Queen's Bench. Surely she would have some redress with trespass.
Yeah, well, what she's going to do, Mr. Ebert, who I always talk about, she's going down the same route as myself and several other people, and she's also using Michael's to say so. You might have an emergency one regarding Michael. So once that power of attorney is taken away, because the contract, the deed, was carried out in fraud, it doesn't exist, they can't do anything. And they're in serious trouble for what they've done to her.
But if you're going down both routes, you're doing a belts and braces approach.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You're saying, you might take my belt away, but the trousers still won't fall down because I'm going to stand as a man.
Yeah.
So you're doing on their own legislation, you breached all of this, and also contract law, saying that if this isn't signed in front of witnesses at the time that it was signed, there's no date on here, therefore it's void ab iento all the way from the beginning, therefore anything that followed from that is fraudulent, and even if that falls through, you've still got your claim with Iron Man, so your belts and bracing it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's actually got, I don't know, maybe a girdle to hold it on as well, but she's got the third one as well. So, yeah.
You know me too well.
The second pair underneath, just in case.
Shall we have a break then?
Yeah, let's have a break.
I'm not speaking.
Can I just say, yeah, as long as we got this guy evictions, I think we stand a good chance.
Mine's completely unenforceable.
The treaty, and then going into Agenda 25, because that affects all criminal law.
21.
Oh, did I say 21?
It's all right, Sue's with you now to keep you on track.
I'm sorry, I never told you about the other three. Tom's got his own. I'm just a little bit ahead there, that one. So, sorry about that. We're talking about Agenda 25 now, Sue.
You can start now, I'm back.
Alright, I'll sort it out then. No.
Well, don't use this to kick off. I've had enough chat about it. The niece.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know why it's me. It's just some thoughts on Agenda 21 and the Nice and Lisbon Treaty that's going through on the 1st, isn't it? I mean, I take it that I know that there's some people that know all about it. I know Mickey knows quite a lot about what's going on, and
Craig does as well.
And Craig, yeah.
Speak up, Craig. Tell us, mate.
Yeah,
well, the
please.
treaty's being ratified on the 1st of November, where the British sovereignty is being handed over to Brussels. You know, we literally, the law is going to be changing. It's going to be switching over to French law rather than British law, so you're guilty before you're innocent, whereas at the moment you're innocent before you're found guilty, and that sort of thing.
Right remain silent.
Yeah.
And this region right now will be under French dominance. Yeah, there's actually they've got maps out, and this is France.
The Nottinghamshire.
We have sectors, don't we?
Yeah.
Isn't it classed as something like Euro region such and such, and like 15 or something? And each section. Tourism economy.
But the implications is
Cornwall and Devon amalgamated, etc.
Yeah, yeah. All the
Common
regions
law
been
God,
swapped
Hebrew
about.
corpus, we could all disappear. At the moment, we can't get you back. You've got the law to. After the 1st of November, you disappear, no one finds you.
You can actually commit a crime here that's punishable in, let's say, a European country, and they can send the police over here and arrest you and take them back there.
Well, foreign troops and police will be deployed here in Britain. And you know, we are going to lose a lot of rights, things that we won't be. They're hoping, obviously, they're trying to get rid of common law. So
can't, can we? Magna Carta 61,
well,
is it?
60 under Article 61 of the Magna Carta. Yeah, you know, we have got a right to the Constitution, to our Constitution of Magna Carta under 61. And so I think, you know, it's about standing behind that right, which we have, you know, that's our right, a lawful rebellion to stand against this wrong that's being done.
It's actually a duty.
Yeah, a duty, yeah.
It's actually a duty.
I mean, we should all have natural lawful rebellion with us because...
Let's see the facts, you know, at the moment we've got a lot of rights and we know for a fact all the mortgages are fraud and they do whatever they want anyway. So this is going to happen, the way it's going, and the rights we have, they're going to be totally ignored anyway. Yeah. So what are we going to do about it? This is the fact, you know, because we're going to need to do something about it.
Well, we're going to have to face the music at some time.
Because, you know, you're going to get serious.
We have, there is a common law court set up in Coventry, if you don't know about that.
Yes, I know.
Well, there's a load of sheriffs that were sworn in last weekend.
Great. Can we have some more else?
Now, like at Tom's, what happened was, I'm pretty sure there was a sheriff there that day, wasn't there, Tom? Somebody asked for 10 good men, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, yes, Michael did. He wanted 12 good men to...
Well, that's all we need at any location where fraud's being committed. Once the sheriff's there, then they have the power to arrest even the police if they're committing fraud.
That's correct. What we actually want to do is, throughout the country, get grand juries, and that's between 25 and 26. And they have more power than any jury or any police or the government. And it's because you're all sovereigns.
They're doing that in America, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, well, they're taking it from us anyway, so...
Okay. So how do we start with this? We need to start doing something quick because obviously this is coming and we're
exactly.
falling down.
I think the ones that we got to contact is Lawful Rebellion, isn't it?
Outside the room, 25 people, you've got a grand jury there from that pillar to here. 25 people there, that's a grand jury.
But no, I mean, under you know, the Magna Carta, I mean, you have a lawful rebellion is natural in all of us. It's something that you know. I mean, who really holds the power? It's the people, not some government, not some queen who's quite willing to hand over, you know, us to a foreign land. So,
and even when she does it, she'll be doing it unlawfully. Because it's not there to touch.
She's not legitimate right now.
That can change it and do anything with it is us. Yeah, because it's ours from her.
That's why the Magna Carta was invented in the first place.
Yeah.
It was a little bit contrived with a knife in its throat, but I don't care.
What had to be done at the time?
Sorry?
What had to be done at the time?
Prince John, King John had a knife in his throat to sign this, or...
I heard something about swearing allegiance to the barons.
Sorry.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that
It's
actually,
25
where
barons.
people have, from the group Lawful Rebellion, have been writing to the barons, and they do have a letter, I think, on their website.
Yeah, it's just been sent.
You can,
I've got that.
send- Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've got the copies of all that.
Yeah.
The letters that go to the barons, the addresses, all the process that you have to go to put yourself into Lawful Rebellion. I've also got discs. I've been and bought discs to copy onto, and I've got one master disc that's got the files for councils, health people, different parts of, small businesses.
Yeah.
And I've just got to get those copied onto individual
fantastic.
discs
Yeah.
to get handed out to the
Oh,
where's
okay,
ready.
right. Well,
I'm
let's
sure
get
a
that together
salon
then.
will help with that.
Well, I'm not that great with computers, so yeah.
Or an alternative, if you sign up to Zshare or 4Share or something like that and upload it and then just share the link so everybody can download.
I know, Nigel, you know a bit about this as well, don't you? Was you going to say something about this Lawful?
Well, I challenged the council tax in 2011, and they actually gave me a settlement fee of £400 out of the 1,230 that I owed them. But then the bailiff still come around the house anyway, and tried to get an entry and get an inventory of all my possessions, what have you, and I actually called the police in the end, and the police did turn up and tell the bailiffs that no business being here, because of forging documents and what have you. And in the end, I have to admit it, and I'm very proud of it, I left the property with the keys in and did a runner. They've got the carriage touch up anyway, so.
Brilliant.
I've just got to serve this to you. For 3 years.
Tom, can I just have one more question? What do you think the next move is going to be as far as the establishment coming down, if they ever do, as far as the bailiffs and the police will have, if you will make a move forward?
Reverse that, what are the establishment going to do when we come down on them?
Yeah.
That's what we've got to do.
Yeah, just on that point, yeah, we can get this boat going and we can steamroll them, but I do believe it's healthy to have a contingency plan, just in case it doesn't go the way that we want it to go. We need a contingency plan, because without it, like, we need plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, do you know what I mean? I never stick with either plan A or B.
It's going to be an evolution. With the team in store, we are trying things like testing the water with different things, and when somebody fails, we regroup and see what's the next step, because we are in something morphing, changing all the time. This is changing, and they are going to play the game as they please, let's say, because they play the game as they please now. Imagine when they come new laws, so it's going to be a really weird situation. No one has to know exactly
that's,
what we
I
are.
think it's going to be.
It's a chess game.
So we have to be really adaptable.
Sorry, what are you saying, Craig?
You know about Dazzle at Manchester?
You got it.
Yeah, we heard about that.
You know,
yeah, he's had his house taken.
What's happened then?
He went away for the weekend. The week after we stopped the eviction, and as far as I know, he went straight down south to with friends, and his neighbours rung him and said early on the Saturday morning, very early, quite a number of police, quite a number of other people arrived, changed the locks and boarded the property up. With him, the building society have been in touch with him and said they will give him a date to go in and collect his things. And that's all he's got so far.
Yeah. So something similar happened to Russ as well, isn't it?
Basic attack. Nothing. It's the security on there at the minute. We believe we're just waiting for the security to come off.
No warrant's been shown then.
12 weeks the security stayed there for.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can it not be taken back like Guy?
Well, you can.
Well, this is what we did. The manner into it.
Yeah.
So
they hold it for 12 weeks.
It's also why they tin up your properties nowadays, whereas before they used to put boards over, now they use tin, which are basically they're perforated. So they take your windows out, put the tins over them, If you try and go back in, you've got nothing keeping the elements out in winter time, where we're approaching. And you notice that there's a snowballing of evictions happening as we approach winter. Because then they can photograph your property inside and out, and it looks terrible because the rain's been coming through these tins, no windows in, the wind's been coming through, it looks damp in it, and they can sell it for a penny. This is what they're doing. They're not just taking properties, and let's be honest, property is just bricks and mortar. These are people's homes. This was your home. It wasn't your house, it wasn't your property, it was your home.
My family home.
Because it's just bricks and mortar until somebody goes in and puts their personal stamp on it. They're taking it away, or trying to. They're trying to degrade its value so that they can sell it and then still come to you and say, you still owe more money.
Yeah,
it's wrong. It's absolutely atrocious.
There's took guys' house and sold it for 300.
That's a property that the land alone would be worth more than that.
They still want £700,000 for a loan and then took out.
It's got to be worth millions, that place. I've been there. And it was turned into flats. I mean, there's quite a few people who here have been there to that property and know that, you know, one of those flats would have
80 acres of land as well.
That's right. One of those flats would have covered what they've sold it for.
They've got 10 flats at 300,000. That's an idea. Just
well, the worst part of all of this is that you've got to understand that all of this started in, well, it started many years ago, but if you look at 2008, which they said was the crunch, when the banks were going to be folded, how they worked this against everybody was they said, we're going to go under. And the government said, no, it's okay, we'll bail you out with our money. Nobody asked us. Bailed them out to the tune of hundreds of billions.
It's their money, it's not ours.
Millions, billions with a B. They gave them this money on the understanding, didn't get them to sign anything. I mean, this is stupid if you want to believe that we're being run by any kind of government with sense. They didn't get them to sign anything, but they said, we'll give you this money on the understanding that you still back small businesses. No, the first thing they did was asset strip any business that had got any money in it, which put people out of their jobs. Once you're out of a job, see how long you can keep paying your mortgage.
Yeah, it's all planned. Yeah.
So the banks created the problem by gambling, nearly went under. We bailed them out, the taxpayer, bailed them out to the tune of hundreds of billions, and they thanked us by saying, hey, we'll put you out of job. Not only will we put you out of a job, but we want something really valuable of yours, your property. How does that work? Now, what was ever to stop that hundreds of billions of pounds being spent on writing everybody's mortgage off and every loan owned by every business? Because it would have come to about the same amount. What happens when you haven't got a mortgage to pay? You've got more money. What do you do when you've got more money? You buy things. The economy booms. But we've just gone through one of the biggest recessions, according to the reports coming out, because we had our money taken off us, which was given to a bank that used their own money irresponsibly. And what was the first thing the banks did? Made sure that their shareholders got paid. And we wonder why people like Tom are saying, no, it's enough, let's fight back. There's an old saying that says, when they came for the elite, I didn't stand up because I'm not elite. When they came for the rich, I didn't stand up because I'm not rich. When they came for the teachers, I didn't stand up because I'm not a teacher. When they came for me, there was nobody left to stand up. It's what people are doing now. They're standing up and saying, it's enough. We've had enough. We know what you've done, banks. You wasted your own money. You've wasted our money. And now you want our property, something of true value that we put our sweat energy into trying to create and give a family environment, or just somewhere I can shut the door and say, sod the world, let me lay down. And like this wonderful woman said, she had the first night's sleep she had through worry. Why do we live our lives like that?
Fear.
We shouldn't.
But the thing is, what you just said is going to get even more worrying because of this Nice think.
Oh, absolutely. We're going into civil.
It is going to
civil
be
law here, would be taken away.
And I believe they planned this since 1937, I think it was, because seemingly Hitler's plan, which I don't know if it's true or not, was if we can't win military, we will financially and corrupt the judiciary, and we will take over. Because he wanted Europe, I mean, Europe is now wanting to take us. We're the last bastion of Europe, because all the rest have given up. I'm going to Iceland.
Turn this place into Iceland.
The curries are not bad either.
Now, ironic, our Queen's Germans.
Yeah. Well, if you find they're all the same. And who was supporting the Nazis? The royal family. And they even had to change their name.
And funnily enough, the Daily Mail as well, they support the Nazis, the Daily Mail. Yeah.
Was it Operation Paperclip?
Yeah, Operation Paperclip, yeah. Where all the Nazi scientists got shipped over to America and the works in America, so like...
So basically we've got to do something, don't we, to...
We need to rise people.
We need to go wake people up.
Maybe.
Quickly,
That's
but
the thing we need to do.
how's that done?
You do not want to be rioting. Certainly go on the streets and walk peacefully. The last thing you want to do is riot, because that's rise. That's going to come anyway, I think. I don't believe that, but seriously, it does make you want to do it. I mean, I've said about the wonderful men and women that live on this island, because that's what it is. It's not Britain and that's a corporation. It's an island, we live on it, and we try and get along with each other, because we're equal opportunity haters. We hate everybody. You know, it's no use saying this is how you should think about it. So we hate everybody equally, but they hate us the same way. We don't care. The point is that we are all men and women, and every man and woman that lives on this lovely little island that we've got will put up with a lot of crap just for an easy life. But the last thing any government that thinks is in charge of us should never forget, and history proves it, is that we'll only put up to it until we think you're taking the piss.
Yeah. Well, they've done that.
And then it really gets
with lawful rebellion.
I love you.
There's a lot of clever people that can formulate plans for lawful rebellion. And I'll give you one, and if this is coming out, I didn't say it. Okay? If everyone here got in their cars and went down to London to the individual city of London, the mecca for money, and just drove around there at 5 to 6 miles an hour. You wait and see what happens to the financial situation in London if you did that for a week.
They'll shoot you.
Yeah,
but that's a good point.
No, that's just a simple thing that can be done.
If the people were to take the city of London, that would cripple the country. Although you've got to.
Well, they're doing it to us.
But you've got to also see the thing is, if we did that as people, they're going to use everything. The police, the army, the land, because that's a financial hub.
Exactly. With the army, you got to remember though, the army man, you're asking them to fight their own citizens.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they won't do that.
Not from November 1st, you know.
That's another important point about this November the 1st problem. You would all be very wise to just have enough, if you've got a bank account, to just have enough to cover your bills. Everything else take out. The reason being, think what happened in Cyprus. Everybody jumps up and down. It was written in our papers. Look, the banks have raided people's accounts and taken their money. What you must understand is when you open a bank account and put money into that bank account, what you've actually done is given that money to the bank. It becomes theirs, and you are an unsecured creditor. And you are the last person on the totem pole that gets paid if things go bad. And if they want to take that money, Because you've given it to them, how can you steal what's already yours? It doesn't make sense. But they convince you that it's your money. It's not. As soon as it goes into a bank, it's theirs. You're an unsecured creditor. They can take it and do what they want with it because it's theirs once it goes into their bank. If you can work without a bank account, please do.
Well,
if you have direct debits and such, just make sure there's enough to cover those. But keep everything else away from them, because come November the 1st, what's to stop any European country doing exactly what Cyprus did?
Well, Cyprus,
it was a test case.
Cyprus was, yeah, it was a test case.
It was a test case. To try and see just how much we can get away with. The Cypriots actually did do a bit of writing on the street, but that's the last thing you want to do, because that goes into their hands. They can send the police armed to the teeth and looking like paramilitary. They're not police anymore. Go to the airports and see if they're police. They're dressed top to toe like paramilitary, holding guns. This is not a police force. This is a paramilitary force that has been brainwashed to say, if those people come on the street and start smashing things, kick the shit out of them. And they will. They will harm you.
What are we going to do then?
The best thing you can do is starve them. Take your money away from them.
That's what
But you've got to be organised. This is the thing, you've got to be organised, and you've got lawful rebellion that you should contact.
See, that's what lawful rebellion is, isn't it? It's withdrawing your allegiance and your funds, because once you enter into lawful rebellion, they're not allowed to take the taxes from you. It's a thing they are not allowed to.
So we should all join those as well. We've got all our little groups. That's just another one, and a very important one.
Do you have to sign for lawful rebellion?
No, your individuality, you are. It's your duty.
If you as an individual send off your thing to the barons.
You send your letter to the barons,
Can I, we're all seeking solutions to this massive problem that this earth faces, because let's face it, it's an earth problem, it's not just a Nottingham problem, it's an problem. There's horrendous things happening all over the world. I want to just say that the solution is not just on a physical level here, it is actually a metaphysical level as well. I don't know how many people are on a spiritual insight level, but I personally believe that the main solution is actually on a metaphysical level. Many of you have probably watched the film Neo, and what that message is trying to tell you is that one person can actually change the world. And I truly believe that if we all became self-empowered and truly recognised our awesome, awesome power that we have within us, we can change this world through the knowledge of becoming one, which has been discussed tonight, through unity consciousness and linking together with like-minded people. We truly can change this world.
I like that guy.
This guy's cool.
Then we're going to try to get the common law courts spread around the country. I want to get more sheriff. What's the plan of action?
Well, don't ask me. I mean, it's everybody here.
I want to become sheriff, setting up common law court, in Stoke, where we are,
Well, the gentleman over there knows about them.
Contact Helen Gardner.
Okay.
About the common law courts.
That'll be on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be in touch with Helen. I don't know if you want us to just run in Stoke and then we'll feed you back in the next meeting.
Yeah, see how that goes. You're going to courts, aren't you?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we do this so we can empower other people to to raise their hand and do something.
Instead of asking us, what do you want to do? What do you think you should do?
That's what we just said.
I mean, you're doing it, so...
I am doing it. I'm doing it,
exactly,
but I would like to see more people saying, I'm doing it as well, I'm doing it as well. We need people, to put it on the line here for everybody, really. I'm going as a guinea pig and putting my body in the line for everybody here, for your children, for your grandchildren.
It's like response. I mean, the lads that go to response, I'm sure they've got better things to do. But they don't. They go along and they stand there in front of bailiffs, police officers, and they say, what you're doing is wrong. You've you've got to stop it.
Oh, let's be
That's
honest,
what we all got to
it does
do.
it for fun. No, because it's
No.
right.
Because it's
Right.
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 But from that, we've got to get bigger, stronger. We can't just sit back and say we got, how many have you got now?
720?
720.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got to get 520.
That's less.
You know, 100 and, Right, can we go back to agenda 25?
Numbers out yours.
You sure you don't work for the banks?
How long have you been in the
So, 5,000, the next step, 500,000, and then when we crack that figure there, everything will change. They will not be able to cope.
Do we need to start trying to set a court up in each city of us all?
Yes.
Courts?
Yeah.
So what do we need? 12 people in each city?
No.
You have to, there's a lady called Rianne LED. She works for the Common Law Court and organises the events whereby the sheriffs, the deputies are all sworn in. But we do need, there isn't a sheriff for Nottingham, by the way. That'd be a nice title. But we do need to create a common law court within Nottingham, because we don't need to be travelling away to Coventry every time we arrest a policeman, do we?
Yeah. Michael of Benicia has been speaking about this as well. I don't know if you've watched any of his YouTube films that he's done, but that's something that they've thought about. And
Right, it's a grand jury thing,
grand jury,
which has got the greatest power.
Doesn't the grand jury have the authority to deputise the big sheriff anyway?
Exactly.
That's where the grand jury would go.
Yeah, it's the most powerful jury when you've got your peers, and that's what they can't stand. They can't get a grand jury of judges sitting there, but we can get a grand jury of people that like-minded, and that's what they fear. So we sit there, 25 of us, and say,
That's why
you're guilty.
Shares have public galleries in a lot of the courts. You can only get 12 people in the courts now. You used to be able to get 30 or 40 people in a court easily. If you go in one now, so many shares they'll let you in. And once 12 of you in there, you don't let anyone else in.
You're not in a real court.
No, they're all star chambers anyway.
Administrative hearings.
We have to find solutions. You know, they are going to try to make things difficult. We have to find solutions.
Let's just take more seats then. We'll take extra seats.
In theory, you're right. It's a public building, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, so it's not.
I've got a camping chair on me.
It's a private court, that's why we need the common law court. It's not a court of record at all, is it? We all know this.
Salon, you did a lot of studying this as well, didn't you?
No.
Have you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Paula, you've know about the Nice.
Fill this form out, and they phoned up the people and says, how do I deal with this? And the anti-poll tax people say, tell them the dog's at it. Now, I didn't think that was much, but when 30,000 people had phoned them up and said the dog's at it, and there's 3 people working in the office to produce new ones.
Did you get the name of this dog, by any chance?
I think it was called Oscar.
We've moved on since
No.
to addressing deceased.
Yeah, well, anything what chucks a spanner in the works, you know what I mean? Close the system up, and like what you say, you do that, you set that, that's, if one person sets a corporation up, it's one thing. If 1,000 people set the corporations up and go for them,
Well, the thing I'm seeing here just now, is get out of debt free, and this has just happened, this is only the second one, that people are actually talking about all these problems. They've been trying to stop that for years. I mean, we're in a pub just now. The first thing they did was stop the smoking in the pub, so those that wanted to smoke wouldn't come here and wouldn't speak to their friends. Then they made, the large supermarkets, cheap booze. And then they put the price of the booze up. So people wouldn't come here because it was cheaper to stay at home. So less people came to talk about these things. Then they closed down the post offices all around. That's another gathering place. Then they attacked the churches as well. whatever you think about religion, people would go and talk. They closed down libraries, but people would go, shh, but you didn't talk. All these places that closed down. But this gathering here, people are talking about the problems, and it hasn't been really done.
Let's also remember that the noisy pubs like the ones in town, they're booming and they're fine. Quiet pubs like this, they're the ones that are trying to shut down because they don't want us, or just even a couple of you sat there talking, another couple around you listening to what you're saying, and then suddenly you've got something in common and you make a group. Before you know it, everyone's friends with each other talking about the same thing. This is why they're shutting the pubs down.
They don't want communities, do they? They want everyone not knowing each other.
You can talk about that when you do eventually get to the pub, rather than talk about the things that matter. This is probably...
Yeah, so we're all talking, we're all communicating, and we're all talking about the problems that they are causing us. And that
what we need is solutions. We need to always focus on solutions. Problems, just feeding energy.
Yeah. That's why we've been talking about response.
The sheriff thing.
The sheriff. Letting the locksmiths know what they're doing. Let the police know. Let everyone know.
And hate's never a good thing, because every time you give these people hate, all it does is reinforce what they're doing.
And make you feel bad.
Kill them with kindness.
Kindness, love.
Just hug them.
If they're in their position, they obviously need a lot more love. They're obviously lacking love in some way or form. They've got no love for themselves. Because how can you have love for yourself if you're doing that to others? So
I'm a little bit of humour, like a certain person in this room might attack them sometimes.
Well, laughter's as good as laughter is a form of
Laughter's a great diffuser of most situations, truth be told. If you hate somebody, you end up hating yourself. Because you'll start taking it inside you and you'll take it out of the ones that are nearest and dearest to you. This is how these bailiffs and debt collectors and such like, this is how they work. They word everything to create fear in your mind. And once you start fearing things, let's be honest, how many people who ever owed, allegedly, somebody some money, starts fearing their own letterbox? Starts fearing their own telephone ring. There used to be a day when your phone rang, and you know it was somebody who loved you, one a member of your family was ringing you up, or a friend, somebody that you liked. Nowadays, you look, you check the number. Is that somebody I know? I don't recognise that number, I better be on guard. That's not a way to live.
I answer all me, Andy.
Keep ringing me. Oh, grateful.
There's a lot of people who go through, a hell of a lot of people go through, and it eats you up, it screws your relationships up.
It does. It gives you... People, we were talking about this earlier before everybody walked in. People have killed themselves for the want of a couple of £100. When was that ever acceptable? Ever.
Well, Andy, you said something, and you're all talking about fear. Okay. People think that money makes the world go round and the same suit. It doesn't. It's fear. It's what they've done that made you fear. Even if you've got money, that you're going to lose it. You're going to fear that you're going to lose your home, your job. Not enough money to eat is a fear. And the most insidious of them all, you fear your children nowadays. Or your children are going to go and say something to the wrong person and you're going to get in trouble, or they're going to steal your children. They've used fear to control us all. It's not money. And that's something that really got taken away. We've got to lose the fear.
That's the one.
Fear, you go into court, they try and make you feel afraid of that man in the silly hat. When you go in, see Donald Duck on the wall, and Mickey Mouse, and the one in the black robe with the silly hat on, he's one of them as well. You know. You shouldn't fear those people.
You should look more into the small brain, because what you were talking about fear, that's to do with your small brain, the reptilian part of our brain, it's the oldest part of our brain. And like, that's what makes us human, because we've got the frontal brain. And this is what helps us overcome our fear, our cortex, our frontal cortex. My small brain's fear and pleasure, they're the two emotions that drive that, our flight and fight response. So we've just got to overcome that fear and realise that this brain is bigger than that brain. And this brain is more intelligent than that brain. and that's what we've got to do. And if you learn about that as well, it might actually overcome a lot more of your fears, just by learning about the big brain and the small brain.
I think as well, also talking about brain development, what you've got to understand is these people lack empathy through all sorts of different reasons. Usually it's separation from the mother, that's a different story. So their brain is actually wired very differently. So they don't get that back. So you're wasting your energy trying to make somebody who's not
They can't do it, they can't do it.
It's a waste of your energy. And so it's like saying, but important to still give that love to those people, but don't expect it back. And that's what makes people psychopaths, it's lack of empathy. And I don't know if anyone's ever read that book, 0 Degrees of Empathy. And it talks about, psychopaths don't have empathy.
Naturally,
Their brain is wired.
We're run by them. We're run by them. We're run by psychopaths.
Yes,
You're not talking about Cameron now, are you?
No. Tom, can I just say something very briefly? I mean, talking about fear, I mean, after a few hostile comments online and stuff, I was in fear of coming here today. And I'm not in fear now, I feel very relaxed.
You go outside, yeah.
I'm amongst decent people. And that decency and people sticking together. No, never tell me that. No, but these people sticking together and being good to people and being nice and finding that we've got something in common. And although we've got things that are different, we've got things in common. That kills fear. And to take that out there and say, look, we're the good guys. We're here to help you. We're not your enemies. That kills fear. And you know, you guys tonight, I had trepidation before I come here.
Well, we've only kept you occupied for the last 2 hours because that's how long it takes to build the Wicker Man.
Can I ask you why we call us foot soldiers? Because that really got to.
Well, no, a bad choice of words. I'm from a different background to you. I mean, foot soldiers, perhaps a bad choice of words. What I'm saying is, we're people who are fighting the fight together. Now,
No, stop calling it a fight. You're using wrong words again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're really pissing me off with your words.
Great, the Wicker Man's not ready yet, mate.
I don't like being called a foot soldier. We're not on no front line, we're here to help people.
Yeah.
Change your words. If you stand in front of us, please.
I'll take that on board.
Please do.
Advise me on what words to use. Advise me on what words to use.
You're coming from the right place.
Yeah.
It's that raw emotion. That's. I understand how you feel. It is that raw emotion because it gets you like that. It does. It wears your nerves down and makes them raw. And you're coming from that place where it's, God, I just want to. You know, I want to shake the world by his balls and say, stop it.
Have you got a gavel?
And that's fine.
Yeah,
you'll find that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Would friends be a better word to use?
Yes. Yes.
We're all friends together. Well, comrades have got a few sort of Russian.
Individuals coming together.
Did you say comrades?
All individuals.
Unity.
I think going back to, sorry to change the
We're getting off track here.
I think a lot.
Yeah, but it's good when people that are different and have differences can come together, and it don't matter about differences, isn't it? That's more important to me than people have to be like-minded.
Yeah.
Because if people had to be like-minded with me, I'd perhaps be on my own.
Going back to our non-eviction on the 23rd of July, I think that, you know, there was a lot of love displayed that day, and everybody said how wonderful it was, and you know, for people to come and do that for us, and as I said, that you know, a lot of the people here we've never met before, we feel like they're our family. We're a family, all together. So, a rather wonderful one.
I expected 12, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to be about 12, so no, Thomas.
I was a bit worried about the tea.
There's going to be a lot more than 12 coming.
I would just like to point out there was one man there on that day was talking about hanging.
No, but it was, and you know, that was what everybody who wasn't there said, wow, it came across as amazing. I wish I'd come. I wish I could have come and been there. And you know, other people said, oh, it's something that they'll remember. You know, and it was just something you can't put your finger on. That it was just a spirit. of how amazing. Community.
But unfortunately, we can't move that on to the next evictions, because when you see 20 people there, I think, oh, why isn't there a couple of hundred? And there's no way in the world the bailiffs would turn up. And if they knew that was happening, and that's why response is so important to grow in members, that's going to happen at every attended eviction, when they stand up and say, this isn't going to happen because look, we've got all these people. And if that happens, let's say, because it's not one a day, it's all over Nottingham, if that amount of people can turn up, they don't have enough people because we outnumber them. Absolutely. Well, hopefully we will in the end.
But before all that eviction happens, they need to get the power of attorney taken away. That's what needs to happen first.
They have to go
now. All people now need to look at what Michael.
What Michael did
because it's end game for its lawful redress.
And as I say,
he's there for it.
With Baldrick, he has a cunning plan as well. And with that and what Michael's done, we're going to crack this. And we're getting very close, and it's getting close to the end now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We're on the map. You know, you were saying, like, obviously you can't get 200 people every time. I just want to bring up a point. Who's bothered and how do we feel about the police watching us? We've been a lot more dangerous in the comments we've been making tonight because we are uniting together, do you know what I mean? Last time we came, there was like points that there would be some infiltrators and some police within the audience.
It doesn't matter.
But I'm just wondering how bothered are we, and if they are watching the sites and everything,
well, they're learning.
why don't we just all say we're going? All say we're going all the time.
Absolutely. And you can also make false flags for them. They do it to us.
That's what I mean.
I've got a point to make on that. I've got a story to tell you on that one, in fact, about false flags.
Are we bothered about police infiltration? Are we bothered? Do we need
No. There's no telling the truth.
I know.
They've got more to lose.
They're transparent now.
Don't fear them now. This is talking about the fear. They've controlled us with fear. We've got to take the fear away from them. Just give it to them.
No, we're not. I mean, but when November the 1st comes...
Sorry.
Juan's been trying to do this every time he speaks, and I think it's getting quite late in the night. And I'd like a couple of things that people have raised. So we've got the common law courts, and we've got Michael Bernasier's action that we can all take away and we can do something with if we've got the information. I'd just like to say, ask, what are the action points for tonight? What am I going to go away and do? Am I going to do Michael Bernasier's? Am I going to
we've got to get this Liberty Bell sorted. We said we were going to do it last week.
What are the big things that we're going to do? What can we all focus on?
So far we said clearly in Stoke we are going to try to start the common law. You know, whatever we do, we are going to get in touch tomorrow and we are going to try to draw the information we need to try to get it started. We said we can be the guinea pigs and see how it goes and bring information back to the meeting next time. Personally, I like to see somebody else in other areas than Stoke saying we are going to take in the court as well. We are going to walk in the court the day when perhaps it's the council day or the morgue day, because they hire the court and they close it and they can't close it because it's a bully building. So the number of people and the law, you have to have a few brains and stuff, cameras, walk in and just hassle them. And if they get funny, call the police, you know, and you know, make a scene. We need to make a scene. We need to make them realize they are not who they believe they are.
Well,
and we are in charge.
You've got you've got 3 vehicles that we can use here today. Number 1, you've got get out of debt. I'm sure I'm putting you in for everything, yeah. But you can certainly post and get out of debt. What you're proposing on Response, Facebook, on eviction, fraud of the banks, and I'm sure there's other sites. Just use them all.
Use all 3. Every time
notify everyone.
Well, I'm saying we are prepared to do something. I like to see, personally, I like to see somebody else to say, okay, we are going to take an hour area. You know, to say,
I'm with you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and we come to you. You know, we come to you to try to assess. We are improvising and we are learning, so you know, we need the unity. You know, here. So probably we are going to next Tuesday go to court So perhaps do it for a few days later for you, and we come to you, and we are going to have a little something from us, and I'd like to see somebody else, but somebody else.
You want some more people to come forward and offer help in your area, and then you'll come here.
Actually, in our area we're a group of perhaps 20 people. Which, because we're local, it's easier to resource them there. But we can bring a few people to go to see Ross, and the court proceeding is going to be there, and see if somebody else want to record up, we can do their area as well.
Well, there's another thing you can start. We talked about these other vehicles that we can notify people what's happening. Do your own one. Start your own Facebook. Let people know what's happening. And then we can all join. Well, let us know. We never.
If anything can be taken over from what's happened in the media in the last few days, if any of you have been following this story of that Alicia King, the kid, the 5-year-old boy who's got the brain tumour. Now this should give you a hint of what we all can do. The father made a 10-minute YouTube video explaining his side of what had gone on. And because of that video, look what's happened today. The arrest warrant's been cancelled. The NHS is flying over the top cancer expert to give him advice. But this started off with some mad person who was on the run, who'd kidnapped his own child. How do you kidnap your own child? Against the authority of the hospital, who had no authority. And even today they've come out and admitted it, that they had no legal duty to tell the hospital anything. But that's not how the story was told to us at the beginning of this incident. Until he made that simple 10-minute video and put it on YouTube and said, here's my son, he's well, this battery powered thing that they keep telling you is going to run out, it's plugged in, it's like a phone, it gets low, you plug it in, it charges up again. He debunked everything they said, and then he turned around and said, this has all been brought about because I disagreed with the findings of the doctors. I went online, I spoke to experts in other countries, there is better treatment. Why wouldn't you want to take your child to the best treatment you can find if you're a responsible parent? He showed that he was not